Good morning, everybody. It is a perfect snow day today. We had a pretty big storm come through. It's gonna last for another day or two. So I figured I would do some interesting posts about some Indian cooking. When I've learned from my travels and time spent in India with my ex-husband's family, it's a lot, right? Making homemade chai, making all of this Indian food that was just so amazing. So I just kind of want to share with you a few things that are pretty cool. I'm going to be making something. I should have prepared it for you. It's called sabudana. It's also known as sago. Basically, it is tapioca, for all of you who love tapioca, right? So this stuff gets soaked in water overnight, and then it gets fried up in some oil with some peanuts and cilantro and potatoes, stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna be making that. So there really is two different forms of sago. The original form of sago comes from a tree root, but what we usually have is called tapioca sago. Now, this comes from the yucca root. It has a lot of vitamin C. It's great for people who are fasting. It's gluten-free. It's carbohydrate rich. So it's great for some quick energy. But if you're diabetic, be careful because it is high carbohydrates. But in that case, pair it with some protein, and that's why the mix that I'm doing today, you mix in some nuts, and I'm also having some yogurt on the side with it. So yeah, it can spike blood sugar if you just eat it just straight up. So try to mix it with other things so it'll counteract it. This is, and if you guys love gummy and love that chewy texture, you know, tapioca, that's what you get with this. When you cook it though, you definitely have to make sure you stop cooking when it starts to get sticky or the pearls start to get transparent. Once they start getting transparent, you gotta take it off of the heat right away because then it starts to turn to mush. But it's an amazing dish and I love cooking with this. I don't cook with this enough and I've got so much of it. Oh my God. So yeah, it's very heart healthy. There's a lot of nutrients in it, potassium, iron. So yeah, so look it up, Sago, S-A-G-O, and you'll find a very nice recipe. Maybe I'll try to share something. I don't have anything written down, so I can just kind of forward, put something in a link for you, but it's amazing. All right. So a few interesting things that they use in Indian cooking. This is called a tiffin box. I don't want to tip it up too much, but this is where they keep all of their like immediate spices that they use for cooking. So just kind of show you here. It's really easy. If you hit the box, it'll bleed into the other sections. So kind of doing an overview look here. We've got cumin seeds, which of course is a staple in, let's get close here, in Indian food. There's also red chili, there's salt, there's methi, mustard seeds, and I believe this is coriander here. And this is like a pre-made a curry powder. I smell it. It's probably the, oh yeah. So even like in American cooking, you know, what spices do you think would be in something like this? So we would probably have, we'd have salt, we'd have pepper, garlic powder for sure. Maybe a little chili powder too, in case we all like a little bit of, a little bit of spice and seasoning. What else is a very, popular spice that we use? I wouldn't say parsley, but I don't know, maybe like oregano or you don't want to make it too Italianish. It's something like just like real bare bones basic seasonings that you would use. What would you fill your tiffin with? I'd love to hear it. A lot of those tiffin boxes are often kept right on the stove here. or just off to the side. But it's definitely something that it's ready to go. There's teaspoons in there, so you can just pop it out and use it as needed. This, like I said, is everything Indian, because I've got all my other spices up in the cupboard, and sadly I don't cook Indian enough, and it's really sad. So that's why today, because it's a snow day, I decided I'm going to make some of that sago. So just kind of a real quick though, you soak it overnight so it's all nice and soft, and then you end up frying it with peanuts and all of the rest of the seasonings. So I will get back to you on that picture. The sad thing is I do not have a potato, so I'm going to fry up some carrots instead, because it adds a little sweetness to it. And it's a snow day. I'm not going out and driving anywhere right now, so I'm gonna make do. So this small little pan is what they call a tadka pan. It's also known as a seasoning pan. This is where you put your oil and your herbs and seeds in, and it keeps it all gathered. Whereas if you put the oil on this pan, it just all spreads out and disperses. So you don't really get to have what they call the blooming of the oils from the herbs. So the oil is nice and warm, and it has that little pool, and when you drop the seeds in, they will start to cook and pop, so to speak, like popcorn, right? But not that much, right? So that pulls out all of the flavoring into the oils. Sometimes, I probably didn't have it hot enough, but sometimes when you put the seeds in, you'll hear it pop and crack. Usually mustard seeds, you'll get that. I was probably anxious and I just put it in, you know, I probably could have waited a little bit longer for the oil to heat up more. But that's fine. It still is going to do its job. All right, now you can start seeing the oil starting to cook. That's great. And this is just the cumin seeds. So I'm just going full Indian cuisine this morning for my breakfast. I'm starting a pan for some chai, and I'm actually going to throw in a few saffron threads to give it a little extra spice. Cooking with saffron. Do you see those little flecks in there? It's probably about maybe 10 threads, and that is all you need because saffron is so potent. So what I've done is I've filled the pan maybe 3/4 with water, probably enough for about maybe 3 cups of chai. I've added my pre-made masala mix. Let me see if I can find here. Basically, it's in a box. I put it in a little bottle, but it has all of the chai spices already in it. The pepper, the cardamom, the clove, everything. It's already in the seasoning. So I sprinkle maybe a teaspoon of that in here. I don't like it too peppery, but what I do like to add a little extra of is cardamom. Cardamom is amazing. So I like to add a little bit of cardamom as well. And these are the pods. I don't have time to crush that right now. There we go. So just maybe like 1/4 teaspoon in there. Cardamom adds that nice, rich, bold flavor for any cooking, baking, that is. Once I get the spices in there, what it's doing is just kind of cooking the spices, opening the flavoring up a little bit more, kind of like with the oils, right, in the pan. So I'm going to show you here what I've got going. I've added the carrots, I've added some peanuts, and I've got some curry leaves that are in here. And now I'm going to add the pearls. And they only need like a minute or two to cook because they've soaked all night long. So usually when you pre-soak them, they don't need to have a lot of cooking. The cooking is just to kind of harden it up a little bit and give it a little bit of that texture. That it gets like gummy, which is awesome. You can see it's already getting sticky. That's when you stop. Remove it. So another thing about Indian cooking and preservation, you know how we use all this plastic shitty Tupperware? Indians are all about stainless steel. I have a bunch of these containers and even like a lot of their cooking pans, which is awesome. I love this. They've got a set of these pans, but what do you notice on them? There's no handle. Well, that is because they actually have a special device. Oh, is it? I found it. See, they're like pliers, and then you just pick it up. I didn't quite grab it great, but yes, perfect, right? You don't have to deal with all those screws and the handles breaking and being plastic. Smart. So yeah, so this is how I store most of my leftovers because it makes sense, right? Plastic is like yuck. So everything is done, and I'm having a side of yogurt because the yogurt helps to kind of cool and balance some of the spices that are in this. And then I've got my homemade chai in here, and I'm ready to have my traditional Indian cuisine breakfast/lunch. All right, everybody. If you're curious about any Indian things, hit me up. Let me know. I love posting about this stuff because I really enjoyed my time there and I learned so much. And, you know, I'm not no expert Indian chef or anything like that, but I want to make it seem very easy, right? A lot of times people can watch these chefs and be like, oh my God, that's just too much work. But it's really not. But yes, it can be. Indian cooking can be very tedious. So you got to have the time for it. This didn't take me all that long in prep and whatnot, but otherwise than that, you guys have a wonderful snow day. If you're inside hanging out, I got a lot of work to do. All right, peace out. Then, my friends, bye.